So welcome back everyone, Triple M here. Today's video we're taking a look at the HappyRun G300 Pro. Now this is probably one of the best all-around electric bikes that I've tested. This thing packs a massive 72-volt battery, 6,500 watt peak motor, hydraulic brakes, motorcycle style suspension, and claims over 70 miles of range under ideal condition. But the real question is, can a bike at this price actually compete with bikes that cost thousands of dollars more, or is it just another bike that looks fast on paper? Now I spent some time riding it both off-road and on-road, and today I'm going to show you exactly what it's like to live with. So we're going to jump right into it. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Let's go. So the HappyRun G300 Pro arrived very well packaged in my opinion. The bike and all the components are surrounded by plenty of plastic, cardboard padding. Everything was secured properly inside the box. Now, considering the size and the weight of this bike, HappyRun did a good job just making sure the important parts were protected during shipping. Now, removing the components, the first thing that we have is a front brake rotor. This is also packaged with the instruction manual. Next, we'll have an LCD display, which we'll install on the handlebars a little bit later. Also have an adjustable rear springs and shock assembly. This will be installed on the bike a little bit later. Before we do that, I am going to make a few adjustments and I'll show you guys how to do that. Next is going to be the handlebar assembly, followed by the front tire and wheel. Now, once all the outer package is removed, we finally get a good look at the G300 Pro. Now, even before it's fully assembled, it's a very impressive bike. So one thing we noticed that the front suspension is compressed by cargo straps, so you need to make sure that's released. That way the suspension can fully extend. Now, shipped separately is another accessory box, and this includes some other key components. Now, inside this box, HappyRun includes a toolkit. Of course, this is going to be helpful in assembling. We also have the large removable battery as well as the battery charger. And the last thing in the box is a combination lock that you can adjust to what you need. Now let's start with the rear shocks. Now before installing the rear shocks, I'm going to adjust the spring preload. This is going to allow you to change how firm or soft the suspension feels based on your actual weight and riding styles. So since I'm around 230 pounds, I did want to add a little bit more preload so rear of the bike doesn't sag too much when I sit on it. You can either do this like I'm doing here, or you can do it on the bike as well. And once the adjustment is where I want it, I can position the shock inside the frame, line it up with the mounting points, insert the hardware, and tighten it very securely. Now next I'm going to install the handlebars, placing it into the handlebar mount, center them, and then loosely tighten the bolts. Now before securing them, take a moment, sit on your bike, make sure the angle feels comfortable. Of course, you want to make sure you don't over tighten these as well. Now connecting the wires, and thankfully HappyRun makes it pretty straightforward because all the electrical connections are color coded. That way you cannot mix this up. So simply match each connector to the corresponding color and carefully push them together. Make sure every connector is fully seated and that none of the pins are bent. Once everything's connected, organize the wire so it doesn't interfere with the steering or get pulled out when the handlebars are turned from side to side. Next, I'm going to install the brakes. Now you want to make sure the brake levers are angled slightly forward and downward so they feel natural when you're seating or standing on the pedals. Once they're in a position that you're comfortable with, again, I'm going to finalize everything once everything's put together, but once they're in a good position, and then you can tighten them completely. Now we can install the LCD display, and for me, I'm just positioning it near the center of the handlebar so it's easy to see while riding. Now once it's lined up, tighten this again. This is a couple Allen keys, and it's going to be the same procedure for the power button control, which will be on the right side of the handlebars. Now HappyRun did provide carbon fiber plastic fenders for this bike, and even though they're not true carbon fiber, they still look real good and they do add a lot to the bike. So it's all in the front one, pretty straightforward. And in the back, you are going to need to lift the seat slightly, position it properly, and then secure the screws underneath. Now, before installing the front wheel, you will need to attach the brake rotor. Position the rotor on the correct side of the wheel, line it up with the holes, and install the bolts to the rotor. Now, once this is done, you can move towards installing the front wheel. Now, if you're doing this by yourself, you probably need a jack like I have here. If you have some help, you can have someone lift it up. That way you can get it underneath. There's an axle bolt that you need to remove, which is pretty straightforward. The standard tools that you receive with the bike is going to allow you to do do so. One thing you want to make sure is when you install on the front wheel, make sure you move the spacer from the front rotor and then line the brake disc inside the brake pads. Now that's done, we do have a couple pedals we install, pretty straightforward. And last but not least, we can install the large 72-volt battery. Now once that's done, you're ready to get this charged and on the road. Now let's just quickly go over the specs and some of the main features of this. So of course, this is an off-road bike. Max speed on this is going to be 50 miles per hour. We'll test it out, of course, in a little bit. So it does have a chain drive with a single gear. So if you're in the city, we know that the max speed on that is 28 miles per hour. And again, having the pedal and the chain just makes it legal. So you do have that if you get pulled over, you can just essentially say, hey, this is a street legal bike. Max speed on this is 28 miles per hour. But in all reality, it does go up to 50 miles per hour, claimed at least, and we're going to test it out. As far as the range on this, you're going to get about 70 miles. Of course, this is going to depend on your riding style, your speed, your size. So a lot of factors in there, but we'll see what we get. Just for your head knowledge, I am 6 feet, about 230 pounds. So we'll beat this up and see how well it does. The battery is a large 72 volts at 30 amp lithium battery. Peak power on this is going to be 6,500 watts, and the charge time is going to be about 5 to 6 hours at 5 amps. As far as the frame, I love the design, what HappyRun did to kind of incorporate the frame and make it look stylish as well. So it is going to be a high strength carbon steel frame, does have full suspension, adjustable in the rear, as you can see there. As far as the front, we do have a huge travel in the front. You can see how high that fender is. So you can see adjustable on the left and adjustable on the right as well. So full adjustability as far as the suspension. So the front fork is going to be aluminum with 80 to 120 millimeter travel. And as far as the tires, front you're going to have a 19-inch tire, so 70 by 100 by 19. And the rear you're going to have a 17-inch, so that's going to be 70 by 100 by 17. So coming up top, you're going to have a full adjustable brake. So front brakes are going to be in the left, and you can adjust it right here. Hydraulic, of course. Rear brakes is going to be in the right, same adjustability. So nice handle right here. I do like these handles, kind of keep your hand in a certain place, which I do appreciate. You do have your lights right here, so you have 3 modes within the light switch. So you have on, which is regular white, then you have amber, and you also have strobe, which flash between both white and amber. You do have turning signals right here. Love the fact that when you turn these things on, you see a LED. That way you know that this is actually turned on. One of my gripes with other bikes. And the cool thing about this is that you can actually have both blinkers on at the same time. It pretty much gives you the emergency flashes, which I think is pretty cool. Horn. Horn is loud, obnoxious. It sounds like a kazoo from back in the day. So it definitely is going to get the job done. Let's hear that again. Holy crap, that thing's loud. Before we get into the LCD screen, let's go ahead and check out the left side. So you do have the modes right here. So you have the minus, you have the power button, then you have the plus to go through the different modes. You do have a quarter twist throttle with the same kind of handlebars on the right side. Again, personal preference, I don't have a problem with it. Still gets the job done. A lot of folks do prefer the full twist, but this works fine in my opinion, and it looks good as well. Same handlebars right there where you can hold on to. You can overall just feel the quality of the bike. Now, quick look at the LCD. This is a different style that I've seen on others. So you do have 5 different ride modes. You do have ride mode 0. What that means is that essentially the bike is in park, so you can't move it around. You press the up button, it's gonna go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have up to pedal assist 5. When you hit the brakes, you do get a little indicator right there. You do have your battery indicator right there, your speedometer, your pedal assist, of course. You do have your power mode. You do have your speedometer, miles per hour, as well as your trip. And you can get into some of the advanced settings by double clicking or triple clicking the power buttons. As far as battery and safety, this does come with 2 sets of keys. You can see it has a standard key and it does have the round key. So both of these are made for 2 different purposes. So there's a lock right here where you can't essentially get the battery out unless you unlock that compartment, which I think is pretty cool. So this is where the round key comes in. Click it in there and this part opens. Then you have to flip this part, and then you have the charging compartment right here.
and you do have the on and off to unlock the battery, which uses this key. So you can see we have a couple different options on here. We have it on, we have it off, as far as the battery. Then you have the lock and unlock as well. So this is going to prevent your battery from getting stolen. Right now it's locked, so I can't pull it out. However, if I was to go in, you can see now this slides out. All right, so this is a pretty big bike compared to what I'm used to. You can see I'm 6 feet tall. The seat itself is about at the crotch area. I can't flat-foot it, as you can see. It's nice and comfortable. 230 pounds as well. You can see it just absorbs. It really is good with absorbing everything. But the rear is adjusted all the way out, so not a lot of travel there. The front does have a decent amount of travel. But again, 6 feet tall, 230 pounds. It's gonna be a good overall fit. Seat is nice and padded as well. This is a comfortable seat compared to what I'm used to, especially with bikes around this price range. So pedal is pretty short, so I don't expect too much of it. I imagine once you get between pedal assist 2, maybe 3, then the pedals pretty much become useless. But with that said, let's go ahead and take it for a ride. We do want to do a speed test first. All right, y'all, so one thing I noticed about this is that this is a nice, comfortable bike. Feels premium, the suspension feels great, brakes feel premium. Overall, like I said, I just think this bike was designed intentionally. So let's go ahead and we'll get into some of the speed tests. So right now I'm in pedal assist 1 or speed 1. And I do have the GPS hooked up, as well as just looking at the LCD screen, just kind of see if there's any difference there. So in mode 1, you can see our max speed right now is saying 11 and 12 here. So 1 mile difference is within the cone of error, in my opinion. Let's go to mode 2. All right, so we're at 12 and 11 in mode 1. Mode 2, we are at 18 on both. For the most part, it did dip to 18 and it went back. All right, let's hit mode 3. Nice gradual speed on this one. Not great for wheelies, but this is gonna give you comfortable, gradual increases where you don't have to worry about the front wheel coming up. So we're sitting at 23 and 24. This is pedal assist 3. And as I suspect at this point, the pedals really don't do anything. I don't feel any resistance, so I'm just moving my feet just for the hell of it. All right, so it looks like we're at 24 and 23. So we'll call it 24 miles per hour. We're gonna turn around here. We're gonna go to mode 4. All right, on to mode 4. All right, so we're at 32 on the dash and 31 on the phone GPS. All right, so this one does fluctuate, 32 there. It did go up to 31. So we'll call it 30 miles per hour, 31 miles per hour on mode 4. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and turn around. We're gonna go to pedal assist 5 or speed mode 5 and see what we can get. Remember, this is advertised to be at 50 miles per hour, so we'll see how close it gets to that. All right, mode 5. Again, nice gradual increase, nothing crazy. The front's not gonna come up. We're at 41, 44, 45, 46, 47. And I chickened out at 47. If I didn't run out of road, there's no doubt in my mind that we'll hit 50. All right, let's try pedal assist in mode 5. So let's just try pedaling in mode 5 and see what happens. So it's like you're just on the throttle and you're just moving your legs just for the hell of it. Again, this is not gonna do anything for you. If you wanna be street legal, let's go to mode 3. Pedaling right now, mode 3. Let's see what it gets me up to. Looks like 22. Let's go to mode 4, pedaling. Mode 3 is where you're gonna be street legal at. If you're in the city and you know that you have to pedal and that you have to stay around 28 miles per hour, you wanna be in mode 3 for the most part. Let me give it another speed run. Again, this bike is just super comfortable, guys. The suspension on this is pretty awesome. This is probably one of the most comfortable bikes I've yet to test. I think HappyRun did a good job on this. All right, let's do a final speed run on mode 5. Remember, 6 feet tall, 230 pounds. Make sure ain't nobody down there. All right, we're clear. We're at 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 48. Let's call it 48. I'm gonna call speed test at 48 miles per hour. I think if I had more road, more courage, I would have gone up a little bit faster. But overall, just the bike seems really composed when you move in. No sketchiness. You feel the suspension doing what it's supposed to do. Adjusted in the back and the front. Pedal like I suspected. Anything out of mode 3, you're not gonna really feel any resistance. So you basically just pedaling for show, just to show that this is a legal e-bike. But I think besides that, great bike. It's gonna be a great dual purpose bike where you can take it off-road and you can also ride this in the city. You can see when you start pedaling, it takes a second for everything to kick in. But just the amount of travel on this guy right here. Woo! Feels so good. This is nice and planted. Doesn't matter what kind of terrain you're on. Just give it a nice front brake and see what happens. Nice and planted, guys. Again, not the lightest person. This is me bouncing the hell on this bike. I think the suspension is probably the best that I've tested on an e-bike, but also with the comfort of the seat, I feel like that just makes it that much more comfortable. Again, pedaling, I'm doing nothing right now. 32 miles per hour on rough road, and it just feels really solid, guys.
So the front suspension does an excellent job absorbing smaller impacts. The rear suspension also feels well balanced and predictable. And for me, it is as refined as some bikes that cost 3 times more, but the suspension on this performed better than I expected, whether it's on gravel like you see in here, or in grass, or even in some of the rougher stuff. I did take this out to a construction site where we have overgrown hills, overgrown grass, some mud. This did a really good job, guys. And remember, I am not the lightest person to perform this test. Now, as far as the hill test, this is where the 6500 watt motor really shines. It climbs comfortably and maintains good momentum without feeling like it's running out of power. So for me, for most trails, recreational riding, I don't think many riders will be disappointed.
All right, so I wanted to do a couple brake tests. From the looks of everything, the brakes feel really good. Tested it so far, seems to be doing a good job braking, but you really don't know until you have an emergency situation where you want to brake, and that's when it fails you. So you want to build confidence with these bikes. And I wanted to do a couple different speeds. So let's go ahead and we'll see if we can get up to maybe 20 miles per hour and see how it does. All right, so we're at 17, 18, 19, 24, and we're about 15 feet away. That felt like ABS, like there was no skidding. The tires stayed planted and just gradually did its thing. Let's try again. 10, we're at 17, 18, 19, 20, and that time I hit it even harder. And I'm probably about 11 feet, give or take, away from where I applied the brakes. So really impressive. Let's see if we can go a little bit faster. Maybe we'll get to 30, hit it real quick and see how it actually does. So far, really impressed. All right, we see a police turning around. Hopefully it's not for me. We'll let him pass. All right. Oh, that was not a police. All right, let's try to go to 30 miles per hour. Let's go to mode 4, 17, 22, 26, 30. That time I felt it. Little slippage on the front, but still I'm about 20 feet away. Again, braking is solid, didn't feel sketchy, felt really nice and planted, and again, just can't say enough good things about how this bike is performing so far.
So let's jump into the pros and cons of this bike. So things I like: incredible value, 72-volt electrical system, huge removable battery, 50 miles per hour capacity, which it really came close to that. So I'm going to give them a win on that, because at my size and weight, it hit 48 miles per hour. Does have a premium build. The carbon fiber panels looks really good. Excellent LED with white, amber in your strobe, and comfortable riding position paired along with the hydraulic brakes and motorcycle styles just makes this really attractive. Now, things I like to see improve. Now, this bike is on the heavier side. 137 pounds is definitely not something you can lift and fit into a truck by yourself. The range will vary dramatically. For me, I think I'm towards the heavier side. I did do a lot of off-road riding, hill climbing, speed tests. So for me, I got about 32 miles on the battery. The range will vary dramatically on how aggressively you ride. And while the Rawrr hub motor delivers excellent straight line speed, riders who spend all their time on technical off-road trails may still prefer the low speed torque and feel of a premium mid-range drive. So would I recommend the HappyRun G300 Pro? And the answer is absolutely. If you've been looking for a fast, aggressive looking electric bike without spending $5,000 or $6,000, the G300 Pro deserves a serious look. Offers impressive speed, massive battery, solid suspension, quality components, and a styling that genuinely turns heads. Now, is this a Sur-Ron or Talaria replacement? Depends how you look at it. Maybe, but not necessarily. It costs a fraction of the price of those other bikes, and for the money, HappyRun put together a package that's incredibly difficult to ignore. So definitely, if you're interested in picking up one, I'll leave a link in the description where you can go ahead and check it out. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I do think this bike is not going to be the fastest off the line. It's going to give you great speed. It's also going to give you great battery life, and quality in the suspension just makes this real attractive. So check the link in the description. If you have any questions about this, drop it in the comments. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.